It starts with a gut feeling, doesn't it always? That faint, gnawing sensation in the pit of your stomach. Like the world has shifted, just slightly, but enough to throw everything off balance. For me, it was her voice, Laura's voice. The way she'd say, "I'll be out for lunch with a friend," with a softness that felt wrong. Not the softness of love, but the kind that hides something sharper beneath. The kind you only notice when you've heard the edges before. The edges you thought you'd smoothed over years of devotion, 8 years of marriage, 8 years of shared mornings, whispered dreams, and the silent understanding that comes from knowing someone inside and out. I thought we were solid. I thought we were unshakable. I was wrong. It was a text, a single message that shattered everything. Can't stop thinking about today. From a number I didn't recognize. When I asked her about it, she laughed nervously. "It's nothing," she said, "just a group chat. You know how girls can be." I nodded. I didn't press. But that night, lying in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling, I knew. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. And I was right. Laura and I had been married for 8 years. 8 years of morning coffees, shared dreams, and the quiet comfort of knowing someone so completely. Or so I thought. The cracks started small. A late-night text here, a vague excuse there. Her lunch dates became more frequent. Her explanations? Vaguer. I told myself it was nothing, just the natural wear and tear of life. But deep down, I knew. I knew. So I did something I'd never done before. I went through her phone. What I found wasn't just suggestive, it was explicit. Her friend was someone named Eric, and their messages? They weren't just about physical attraction. They were dripping with emotional intimacy. The kind of connection we used to have. The kind I thought was still ours. For a week, I carried the knowledge in silence. Should I confront her, pack my bags and leave, beg her to explain? I did none of those things. Instead, I plotted. I started with research. A few social media rabbit holes later, I discovered Eric was a colleague of hers, a sales representative, married, 2 kids. His wife, Christine, had kind eyes and a smile that didn't deserve the pain she was about to feel. I hired a private investigator, Frank, a grizzled man with a face like a bulldog and a no-nonsense attitude. His photos confirmed everything. Laura and Eric, leaving a hotel, laughing, kissing in her car. Proof. Hard, undeniable proof. Next, I reached out to Christine. My message was simple. "Hi, Christine. This is going to be hard to hear, but I believe your husband is having an affair with my wife. I've attached photos. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this." Her response came an hour later. A single sentence. "Thank you for telling me." The ball was rolling now, and I was no longer in control of where it would stop. But I had one last card to play. I invited Laura to lunch. "Let's have a date," I said, forcing a smile. "Just the 2 of us. We haven't done that in a while." She seemed relieved, almost eager. She thought my sudden attentiveness was a sign I suspected nothing. Little did she know, it was the calm before the storm. The day arrived. I set the table meticulously, crisp white tablecloth, our finest silverware, 2 glasses of wine, and in the center, a manila envelope. Laura walked in, smiling, her cheeks flushed from her supposed lunch date. She stopped cold when she saw the table. Her eyes darted from the envelope to me. "What's this?" she asked, her voice shaky. I didn't answer. I just gestured for her to sit. Reluctantly, she did. Her smile faded. I slid the envelope across the table. "Open it," I said. She hesitated, then complied. Her jaw tightened as she sifted through the photos, the printouts of text messages. "I can explain," she stammered. "Explain what? That you've been lying to me for months? That you've been sneaking around with a married man? That you've been treating our marriage like it's disposable?" She broke down, sobbing, mumbling apologies that meant nothing. I let her cry. Let her wallow in the mess she'd created. Then I dropped the next bombshell. "I've spoken to Christine," I said. Her eyes widened in horror. You what? She knows everything, just like I do. You've destroyed not one, but two families, Laura. Congratulations. At that moment, there was a knock. Laura's head whipped around. Her expression, a mix of fear and confusion. I stood and opened it. Christine stepped inside, her face calm but her eyes blazing with anger. And behind her, Eric. Laura's face went pale. "What is this?" she whispered. "This," I said, "is closure." By the end of it, everyone's emotions were frayed. Laura and Eric looked like broken shells of the people they were when they walked in. Christine and I exchanged a look, a silent acknowledgement that we'd both emerged stronger. The fallout was swift. Laura packed her bags and moved out that evening. I filed for divorce the next day. Christine did the same. Eric lost his job. Laura's reputation took a nosedive. They had no one to blame but themselves. As for me, I won't pretend it was easy. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, moments when getting out of bed felt impossible. But with time, the anger faded, replaced by a quiet determination to rebuild my life. I started therapy, took up running, reconnected with old friends. A year later, I'm happier than I've been in years. I've learned to value myself, to demand honesty and respect from the people in my life. Laura and Eric? Last I heard, their relationship didn't survive the weight of the guilt. Revenge may not be the healthiest of motivations, but sometimes it's the catalyst we need to reclaim our power. And reclaim it, I did.